So these are your company's registered values and valuation rules. This is your Gita, this is your Quran, this is everything for you, because these rules are exclusively taking care of whatever you will be doing as registered valuers. I will recommend that apart from printing the fair value definition, you should also print a copy of this. Maybe not print it, maybe keep it on your laptop, but at the same time read it thoroughly, make sure that you understand each and every responsibility which is casted upon you in these rules, and in that manner, I would suggest that it will be helpful in case we are compliant with these rules, so that we are safeguarded from any liability as registered valuers. So, if you talk about these rules, you say that, okay, these rules shall apply for valuation in respect of any property, stock, shares, debentures, securities, or goodwill, or any other assets or net worth of a company or its liabilities under the provisions of the Act or these rules. Then it talks about definitions. Definition में asset class को उन्होंने define किया कि asset classes क्या क्या हो सकते हैं. Certificate of recognition को classify किया, registration को किया, partnership entity को classify किया, although that is not very important. Valuer को define किया, that a valuer means the person registered with the authority in accordance with these rules, and the term registered value shall be construed accordingly. So basically then, if you look at go further, you will look at eligibility, qualifications, and registration of valuers. This is the name of the chapter, where you will find that, okay, who is eligible to become a registered valuer. The person shall be eligible to be registered valuer if he's a valuer member of a registered valuer organization. He is recommended by registered valuer organization to be a valuer member of the for registration as a valuer. Has passed the valuation exam. He has possesses the requisite qualification and experience. He is not a minor. He is not declared an unsound mind. He is not an undischarged bankrupt. He is a person resident in India. So these are the requirements. So of a valuer to be registered as a registered valuer. He has not been convicted of any competent court for offence punishable with imprisonment for a term exceeding 6 months, or for an offence involving moral turpitude. So there shouldn't be any punishment. He has not been levied a penalty under Section 271J of the Income Tax Act. Is a fit and proper person. No partnership entity or company shall be eligible to be registered valuer if it has been set up for objects other than rendering professional or financial services, including valuation services, and that in case of company, it is a subsidiary, joint venture, or associate, or another company. So basically, these are eligibilities for a partnership concern. Then qualification and experience. An individual shall have the following qualifications. So he should either be a postgraduate. There is a chart that they have given apart from this. So in case you have all these qualifications, you are eligible to become a valuer. Valuation exam, I think you're already preparing for it, so you don't need to read this perhaps. You already must have understood all this while understanding the pattern of the examination, the pattern of how you can become a registered valuer. Then you can register for the, this is something that you will be doing after clearing the exam. After clearing the exam, you have to file your registration with the IBPI in Form A, and then this is the process for that. So you need to understand this, that the authority shall examine the application, then they will issue a certificate in Form C. So the authority can either accept your application, grant the registration, or reject the application and give reasons thereof. The registration granted under Rule 6 shall be subject to the condition कि valuer जो है वो हमेशा जो है वो he will at all times possess the eligibility and qualification and experience criteria as specified in Rule 3 and 5. He shall at all times comply with these rules and bylaws or internal regulations. He, in his capacity as a registered valuer, not conduct valuation of assets or classes of assets other than which he has been registered by the authority, take prior permission of the authority for shifting his membership from one registered valuer organization to another, take adequate steps for redressal of grievances, maintain records of each assignments undertaken by him for the last 3 years, comply with code of conduct in an extra one, we will come to that. पार्टनरशिप कंसर्न्स के लिए भी है कि then allow only partners or directors who are registered valuer that is being valued to sign and act on behalf of it. In case of a partnership entity or company as a registered valuer, it shall disclose to the company concerned the extent of capital employed or contributed in the partnership entity or the company by partner or directors as the case may be, who would sign act in respect of relevant valuation assignments for the company. Registered valuer be liable jointly and severally along with the partner who signs and acts in respect of a valuation assignment on behalf of the partnership entity. In case of a company is a registered valuer, then that is the case. And then basically, in case of partnership entity or company is the registered valuer, immediately inform the authority on removal of a partner or director, as the case may be, for the registered valuer, along with detailed reasons of such removal. To comply with such conditions as may be imposed by the authority, all that is required. Then Rule 8 is important. Rule 8 talks about conduct of valuation, and it says that the valuer must comply with the valuation standards. And it says that till valuation standards are notified by the central government, a valuer may make valuation as per internationally accepted valuation standards and valuation standards adopted by a RVO. So in case of CEV, CEV has adopted IVS, so you're supposed to follow IVS, and it is something which is part of this subsection, and it is very, very important for you to follow IVS. The registered valuers may obtain inputs for his valuer report or get a separate valuation for an asset class conducted from another registered valuer, in which case he shall fully disclose the details of the inputs and particulars of the other registered valuer in his report and the liability against resultant information, the resultant valuation, irrespective of the nature of input or valuation by the other registered valuer shall remain of the first mentioned registered valuer. The value shall in his report state, I think we have already talked about this in the previous slide. I will skip this therefore. You can have a look again. Let me know in case you have any questions. In case a valuer wants to temporarily surrender his valuation registration certificate, he can do that. Somebody might want to surrender because he's going back in employment, leaving the profession for the time being. Somebody might like to surrender it because some other incapacity where he's maybe no longer going to be a resident of India for some reason. He is traveling abroad and or residing abroad for some time. So these can be some reasons for somebody to temporarily surrender his valuation license. Next is transitional arrangement. I don't think that's something which is very, very important. I will just skip to the next page. RVOs, understanding that from an exam point of view, you can read it. It's not something very complicated. Then coming to so chapter 4 talks about cancellation or suspension of certificate of registration or recognition. It says that the authority, that is the IVBI, may cancel or suspend the registration of a valuer or registration of registered valuer organization for violation of the provision of the Act, any other law allowing him to perform valuation, these rules, or any condition of registration or recognition, as the case may be in the manner specified in Rule 17. So basically, there can be a complaint, there can be a cancellation or suspension of a certificate because of a complaint, there can be an inquiry, there's a procedure that they have said you have to go through for cancellation or suspension. So they have to give you a chance to defend your valuation report, to defend whatever actions you have taken. But the show cause notice should have all these facts, they should have all the allegations in them for you to respond. Valuation standards, the central government shall notify and may modify from time to time the valuation standard on the recommendation of the committee set up in the Rule 19. So valuation standard, they have drafted, they have also had that committee, but then that committee, I think, is just waiting for the draft valuer bill to be approved before it can move into the new system and then start working on the valuation standards. This is the incorporation of the committee that is going to be taking care of this evaluation standard committee, and then you can memorize that for examination. Then there is a punishment in case there is a person who is not a valuer and who has done something of punishable offense. Even he can be punished under this section, under section 448 of the Act. Then this is the model code of registered for the registered valuers. You have to work with integrity and fairness. You have to work with professional competence and due care. I will advise all of you to read this Annexure 1 Code of Conduct very, very thoroughly. Let me know in case there is any question, anything that is you are not able to understand. This is very, very simple language. You shouldn't be memorizing these. These are required to be memorized not only for the exam, but also when you do practice. You have to make sure that you're not flouting any of these rules, so that you are compliant with the registered value framework and you're not doing anything which is not acceptable by the IBBI. So educational qualifications you want to see, even I think they are here in the last part. These are all the draft bylaws, and they require you to fill a half-yearly return. All that is also something that you will have to do. These are the eligibilities that they have for different valuers. So this is what I wanted to talk about. Any questions on this company's rules? Any questions?
Sir, is it mandatory that we have to do only evaluation job, not any other job?
No, nowhere it is stated, sir, in these rules that you can only do a valuation job. But yes, it says that you shouldn't be in employment. You can practice other professions, but you shouldn't be in employment in case you're a valuer.
So it means I can't join any government services.
Sandeep ji, I don't think so, right? I think we can ask Sandeep ji for the practical part of this.
Sir, मैं follow नहीं कर पाया, मैं थोड़ा सा.
So basically, the question is that if somebody is a registered valuer, can they be a government servant? Can they be an employee in the government?
No, at the time of training, you can be an employee or government servant. At the time of examination, you can be a government servant or employee. But at the time of registration, you cannot be an employee or government servant of any type of organization, not even a private company.
Okay, sir.
The time of registration, at the time of filling the application form A, you should not be in any type of employment.
Okay.
And after clearing the examination, you are having full 3 years, 36 months to apply for registration after filling the form A. Up till then, you can enjoy your employment. And at the time of filing the application form on form A, you should not be in any employment.
Also, once you get registered with IBBI, after that, in case you're intending to enter into an employment, you're supposed to surrender your valuer license and then join that employment. You can't be a valuer while you are in a government, while you're working in a job.
So this means that registration is then appearing for this IBBI exam.
Sorry?
Sir, for appearing in IBBI exam, there is no such restriction. You can be an employee for appearing in an IBBI exam. But after clearing the exam, you are having 3 years to choose whether employment or for registration.
Okay, sir.
You are having 36 months to choose whether you want to be a registered valuer after leaving the employment, or you can be a employee after you can not go for the registration. जैसे सर ने बोला कि आप रजिस्ट्रेशन के बाद भी चूज कर सकते हैं. अगर आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन हो गया है, उसके बाद भी अगर आप ये सोचते हैं कि मैं रजिस्ट्रेशन एज अ रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर मैं नहीं, या मुझे कोई एक जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत अच्छा मिल रहा है, मैं वहां पर ज्वाइन करना चाहता हूं वेदर इन इंडिया और अब्रॉड, तो आपको वो टेम्परेरी सरेंडर करना पड़ेगा. आपका जो रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट है, जैसे सर ने अभी बताया, एक लेटर लिखना पड़ेगा और 7 days बिफोर और 1 महीना पहले एम्प्लॉयमेंट लेने से पहले आपको सरेंडर कर एक सर्टिफिकेट के लिए लेटर लिखना पड़ेगा. वो आरवीओ को आप सबमिट करेंगे, ओरिजिनल सर्टिफिकेट और एक लेटर के साथ में. और आरपीओ फिर फर्दर रिकमेंड करेगा आपका आईबीबीए में, जो कि वहां से आपको सरेंडर 1 महीने के अंदर अंदर नॉर्मली वहां से सरेंडर हो जाता है। उसके बाद में आप जॉब ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
आप जॉब छोड़ते हैं दोबारा से आपके पास चांस है कि आप वापस वो एज इट इज आप अपना जिम्मेदारी उठा सकते हैं।
थैंक यू।
हेलो,
Any other questions? Yeah, yes, ma'am.
सर जैसे कि अभी आप बोल रहे हैं कि जॉब नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जो प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं एज ए सिविल इंजीनियर और एज ए आर्किटेक्ट या टीचिंग लाइन में, तो वो कर सकते हैं?
टीचिंग में मैम प्रोफेशन एज अ प्रोफेशनली कर रहे होंगे, नॉट एज एन एम्प्लॉय कर रहे होंगे, तो आई थिंक पैरेलली आप बाकी प्रोफेशंस कर सकते हैं। और जो ड्राफ्ट वैल्यूअर बिल है उसमें उन्होंने बहुत क्लियरली कहा है दैट दे विल नॉट लाइक टू रिस्ट्रिक्ट valuers from doing other professions or practicing other professions for the next 3 years. But after that 3 years, 4 years that they have talked about, then they want valuers also to become full-time valuers rather than becoming part-time, being part-time professionals as valuers. But for the time being, IBBI has accepted in the draft valuer bill that for the time being, we will allow you to practice other professions.
Okay, thank you, sir.
अगर टीचिंग में आप एज अ एम्प्लॉय कर रहे हैं फिर आप नहीं अलाउड होंगे। अगर टीचिंग एज अ टीचर आप कर रहे हैं, जस्ट एक ट्यूशन ले रहे हैं या फिर कुछ ऐसी चीज कर रहे हैं जो कि एम्प्लॉय एज अ एम्प्लॉय आपकी वहां पर रिलेशन नहीं है, तब आप कर पाएंगे। एज अ एम्प्लॉय आप कोई जॉब एट द टाइम ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं कर पाएंगे।
ओके सर।
मतलब आपका कहीं भी इनकम नहीं आनी चाहिए
सर वो इंटरप्रिटेशन निकाल लो सर। अब वो इंटरप्रिटेशन आपने सही निकाली है सर, वो बिल्कुल सही है। तो हम अब नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे चलते हैं। ये टॉपिक जो